Hello, everyone. Welcome to the pre-show. Already got a few people, bucking around in here. Dulem, Andy, Kakan, Hue,
Huey, yeah.
Pio. Actually, I don't know. How do you say your name? Pe.
Pio.
Is it Po? Are the T's both silent?
I think so.
I
That's
had
how I
a
pronounce
I
it.
had a feeling they
Very
might be.
nice.
Key Bobo as well. And J-Shuff with the tier 1 sub for 23 months. That's almost 2 years, man. Nearly 2 years of J-Shuff subbing to this channel. That gives me warm, fuzzy feelings inside.
Heck
Thank
yeah.
you, man.
He's a very wholesome gentleman too.
Yeah. I saw some screenshots of his collection from Clack, the meetup the other day, the virtual
very
meetup.
nice.
Kiko.
Yeah, Keycon, that's the one. He's got some pretty good stuff in there.
Yeah. Yes, he does. Got Clay in chat. What's up, man? What is conductor?
Tasty, tasty.
Oh, that's the hype train conductor. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. You were the damage point, so that means the last time we had a hype train on the show, you were the guy that started that hype train either by subbing or dropping bits or whatever. You were the person that started that last hype train.
Nice.
Bottles up with a Twitch Prime sub as well. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. And J-Shiv comes back with the 500 warm fuzzy bits.
very
So thank you very
nice.
much.
Thank you so much, guys. Iwade says he subs for one. Thank you so much, man. And he says, "Can we get some tasteful portraits of Jay on the wall behind you, Brian?" That'd be pretty amazing, actually.
I had that tasteful series of pictures of you from Luna for my Secret Santa present last year, back at home in the home office before I moved to the warehouse. So perhaps I should bring some of those pictures down and put them up as well.
You have pictures. Wait, hold on. Let's take a step
I've
back
got that
here.
picture of you snuggling up to your keyboard. Don't you remember?
Maybe.
Ooh,
I don't know.
very nice.
I'm curious to see what this is now. I don't remember.
I don't have it here, so I can't show you. But yeah, I have like a framed photograph, printed photograph of you snuggling up to your Rama, and looking at it adoringly, from Luna from last year's Top Clack Secret Santa,
Oh
as
wait,
well as some other.
This sounds kind of familiar now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Okay. I forgot that's why he wanted that picture. That's hilarious.
Yeah. There was some other pictures as well of like some really high quality boards and keycap sets and things as well. But yeah, that was the one. It's still actually on my in my home office. I've got like a
It's framed.
like a console, and it's framed. Yeah, all of the pictures came framed. I've got like a console that I like with drawers and cabinets underneath it, and on top I keep a few things like the sound bar for the TV and stuff. And one of the things on there is that picture of you. Yeah.
That is absolutely incredible. Okay, so chat. Here's what we need to do. I need to get a mural painted of Jay on this wall. I want it to take up the entire wall behind me. That's what I really need. I need to find an artist to do this.
Wow.
That'd be really going all out.
That would be crazy. That'd be crazy. Yeah. Kakan says make a bronze statue. Well, yeah, I think I'd look good in bronze, actually. I'd probably look pretty good in bronze.
That sounds really expensive, I gotta be honest.
It's not going to be cheap.
Yeah.
Skewed as well. Thank you very much for the tier 2 sub. Subscribing for 19 months as well. Wow, that's huge.
Thank you so much, man. Always a pleasure to have Skewed around.
Yeah, Kakan says, I can paint him like one of the French girls. Please do. I will pose for you and everything. That's not a problem.
Can you paint him like one of the French boys, though?
Ooh.
That's right. Gio giving me crap because I still have nothing behind me. Technically, I have a keyboard that you can kind of see down there. It's a Norba Force on the ground. I'm on the hunt for some shelves or display cases, and I can't really quite find what I'm looking for. But something I can put behind me and kind of display all of my keyboards. A lot of the shelves that I've been finding in bookcases are just too small.
Mm-hmm.
I need something a bit wider so I can actually display the keyboards.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah. I've got some more shelving coming here for the workshop, so that I can have more stuff on display because I've just got too much to not display it. Like it makes more sense to have it out there.
P.O. Is saying, our hosts both looking rather good today, having a pleasant week. Oh man, we're having a rough day.
Yeah, the reason why the show started really quiet is because we're both feeling it. Brian has got a banging headache, and has had for a little while, and I'm just feeling tired, like genuinely exhausted. The bags under my eyes, these are real. These are real. They're getting bigger. It's not good.
Yeah, Jay is working way too hard, and it's starting to finally take a toll on him.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm hopefully fighting off what is hopefully not a sinus infection.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try and
very nice.
take one day where I just come home from work at like 5-6 p.m., have some dinner, go to bed, and just sleep. That's the plan. That is the plan.
You need it, man. You need it. I feel like Brian is slightly stretched. Am I? I don't think so.
I think your camera's just more square onto your face.
I changed my angle like a little bit to be a little bit more direct as opposed to at an angle. I can change it back if it bothers people. I'm sure my face bothers all of you guys, anyways. Let's be real here.
Noxygen, thank you very much for the 14 months of subs. He says, you're looking cute tonight. Well, thank you very much for that. It's too early in the morning for me to be looking cute, but I agree that Brian does look pretty good today.
Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy. You guys are absolutely crazy. I look and feel pretty awful today, but I appreciate the kind words, guys. You guys are as wholesome as I need it to be. Juan above all. Great username, by the way. Subs at tier 1. Thank you so much. Juan above all.
Juan above all. I like that. That's a good name. That's a really good username.
I'm a big fan of doing Juan instead of one, like, just in like random conversations. It's always fantastic. I used to have like an inside joke with my friend that we would do that a lot. It was great.
Yeah. I like names like that people mispronounce. We've got a guy at work, and he's called Jorge, but of course 90% of the Brits don't realize that, and they all call him George, and it's just really funny. He plays up to it. He kind of enjoys it when people do that, and he kind of plays up to it, and he winds them up even more.
Tasty,
yeah, it's
tasty.
quite music.
Yeah, Pio gets it. He says it takes Juan to know Juan. Man, it never gets old. It really doesn't. It's just fantastic.
No. And J-Shift does just one bit.
Well, you know what they say, guys. Juan is the loneliest number.
Oh.
Juan in a million. That's right. Fantastic. I love it. Oh, that's awesome. This is great. Should we start the show? Should we attempt to start the show?
Let's start the show. Let's
just see where it goes. We're gonna do the things, and we're gonna click the buttons. We're probably not gonna send any money, but we're gonna try to hold it together for today's episode.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, exactly. I should have came out of the intro sooner just so they could hear you say rawhide. That was a mistake on my end. All right, guys. Welcome to this week's episode of Top Clack. I am your host Quakemz, joined as usual by my lovely co-host Jay. And we have an episode in store for you today, guys. If you were here for the pre-show, you might know that we're not really having the greatest of days. Jay's very much overworked and needs a break, and I am fighting off what is hopefully not a sinus infection. So my head's a little stuffy and congested today, so I'm not doing too hot. But with that said, we are going to try to work something out for today's episode, and we have a bit of an interesting kind of structure for today's episode. But before we get to that,
a bit different.
Jay, I know how you're doing, but why don't you let us know how you're doing today?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm tired, but I'm okay. I'm more frustrated with things than anything else. This week has been an up and down, topsy turvy week. So Monday, I don't know if you've seen the pickup truck I bought for the prototypist, but I bought a pickup truck a few months ago, like a classic one, vintage VW Caddy, 1989 model, in green, and it was the prototypist, so PT pickup truck, so it was PT. So I called it Pete, because why not? And there was parked outside my house earlier on this week, and someone's car up the road, the handbrake failed, or the parking brake failed, and the car just rolled down and crashed into the side of it.
Oh no.
So that's been a thing this week. The truck's not back on the road yet. It will be next week. It goes into the shop on Tuesday for repairs. But that was frustrating.
It's been a weird last couple weeks, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just been up and down, and that was the big down moment this week. There's not huge amounts of damage to the car. Like the car that hit it just rolled gently into it. There's some pictures floating around Discord if anyone's interested, or if they want to see it, I can send some pictures. But where it drove in, it hit the front wheel, and now the alignment's out. It needs a new wheel bearing. It needs a new track rod end, and the steering system needs to be checked over to make sure it's okay. And yeah, it's just frustrating. And to top it all off, the car rolled into me. Here in the UK, we have to have two things. We have to have insurance to make sure that the car's insured to be on the road, and cars also have to pass an annual test called an MOT. He had neither of those, so
naturally
it means that I have to pay for everything out of pocket.
Visionaire says you've been 2020'd.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, 2020 has been so weird, man. Like coronavirus and politics aside, and like everything else aside, which has been a lot. It just feels like it's been going on for eternity. Like I think
it's
I don't know
the year
if it
that
was,
never ends.
I don't know if it was in this chat or if it was in Discord, but Iwade was saying that 2020 has been lasting for 13 years. And I was like, man, it's so true. It feels like time has been at a standstill. It's the strangest thing.
For sure. We built this, city says, and does the other guy not pay anything? So I can't force him to pay anything. Usually how it works in the UK is my insurance company would contact his insurance company. They would look at all the pictures, the video, the photographs, take statements from both of us, and then they would pay out based on that. And in the meantime, I'd just get the car fixed. Because he doesn't have insurance, it means that I have to either let my insurance company pay for it, which means my premiums go up, or I have to find the cash myself and pay for it in cash directly. The only recourse I have available to me is to report him for not having an insurance or an MOT car. So his car's technically not road legal. And if he'd had it checked and had the annual test, then maybe the parking brake wouldn't have failed. So, yeah.
Scott Waters, thank you so much for the 100 bits, man. He says here is to truck repairs.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do a few of them myself. Like the bodywork and stuff I can do myself. There's not too much damage to that, so I can do that. And I'll get my I've got a friend who's a mechanic who can do the more technical, detailed stuff. But yeah, it's fine. It'll be okay. The truck will be back on the road in a week or so, and we'll be good.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, to get to the kind of overarching theme of today's episode, it's going to be a little different. So we don't have necessarily segments that we're going to be talking about. We don't have a guest on, as you probably noticed, but we did want to try something a little bit different. So we wanted to try to take this episode as a bit of an approach as if we were newcomers. And maybe we had a set amount of money, and we are trying to look for the best value that we can get, something in stock. So no waiting for group buys. We're not really going to be focusing on anything like super high end. So we are going to be relying a little bit on chat on this one, though. So stay with us, guys, and kind of let us know your thoughts on some of this, and give us a hand, because we're struggling today. But we're gonna get through this, and we're gonna have a fun episode. So the idea here is that we're going to be doing a little bit of a value hunt. So I believe this original theme was kind of shot to us by Pio in chat, and he kind of said, we should do like a what's in stock sort of episode. And I kind of thought about that for a little bit, and I thought, what if we could tailor it to maybe new people coming into the hobby, and maybe they don't have $400, $500, $600 or $1,000 or $2,000 for a keyboard. Because things are getting interesting in the hobby lately. Things are getting a lot more expensive, but we've also had a lot more in the budget scene lately as well. So
yeah, some really good budget options out there today. So yeah, I think the other thing as well that you talked about before the show, Brian, when we're discussing this, is looking at not just custom builds but pre-built boards as well. What exists out there that's actually from a manufacturer of repute that we can suggest to people that's in stock and available as well. So there's lots of different options we can look at. But as Brian says, we definitely want you guys in chat to help us out, help us set things like budgets and kind of tasks to find certain things, and we'll try and make it as interactive as possible and bring you guys on the journey, and hopefully it'll help a few members out.
Yeah, so we definitely want as much interaction as you guys are willing to give us, and because the landscape of OEM keyboards and entry-level custom keyboards, for example, have really exploded in the last couple of years. And I'm going to be totally honest, especially with OEMs, I haven't really kept up with it. But, I was doing a little bit of a research on a few sites before the stream, and hopefully with the help of you guys in chat, we're going to kind of settle on some OEMs that might be the best bang for the buck coming into the hobby. Because, many years ago, when I entered the hobby, everyone had Philcos. Philco was the go-to board, and if you got anything else, you weren't very smart. Either you had some kind of fancy high-end custom, which most people didn't have. You got a Philco, or you got some kind of Topra board, or you used a Model M. And there weren't really many exceptions aside from that. But these days, the hobby looks very, very different. There's a lot of OEMs on the market these days. So let me go ahead and swap views over here, and let's take a look at some things. So I'm gonna kind of start out over on mechanicalkeyboards.com, which has been around for a while, and they do sell a lot of OEM keyboards. Now, I do
just on that site myself, just on the same site.
That's right. So I know a lot of people in chat are going to be like, oh, there's going to be cheaper places to get this and this and this, and I totally agree, and that's why I want you to tell me. So if you have better places to get specific products, definitely let us know. And we're going to try to be very interactive with the chat today. But let's take this from the approach of a brand new person coming into the hobby. Let's say we haven't done a whole lot of research. We kind of understand maybe what form factor we want. Actually, let us in chat know. What should we be looking for here? What kind of form factor? Set some parameters for us. What kind of form factor should we be looking at? Maybe what kind of switches, et cetera, guys. Let us know.
Yeah, so put yourselves into the position, guys. You're new to the hobby. You know a little bit about what's out there. What kind of budget should we be looking at? What kind of layout should we be looking at? What kind of switches should we be looking at? Yeah, Geo says 60 and TKL will cover most new people. 60 or TKL. I think TKL is probably a good place to start, right? TKL feels like a solid.
Yeah, one thing I have been noticing is 65% has really kind of exploded, even in the OEM scene, and even Ducky has one now, the Ducky 1.2 SF for $109. And this actually made me laugh too. Check out this tagline here. Take back your arrow keys. That's the kind of marketing for this board, which I thought was kind of hilarious, since Ducky also produces 60% boards without arrow keys.
Yeah. Take back your arrow keys. That's not a bad.
When I first saw that, I had quite a chuckle. I gotta be honest. My first was a Philco TKL with Browns. Yeah, Philco. Okay, I fully agree that Philco is a fantastic product. There's
Mechanical quite keyboard. A few out there.
And honestly, Philco might still be one of, if not the best OEM keyboards, but we're gonna take some other things into account here. WinCan008 says $150 seems to be in a lot of people's budgets for the people I've been helping join the community. $150 seems like a pretty reasonable budget, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we're looking for a pre-built, something for 65% that's under $150.
Yeah, or let's broaden this even more. We'll say $150, but it doesn't need to be an OEM. We can also consider customs for that price. However, it'll be very difficult to get a full custom build for $150.
Yeah, you're going to be struggling if you want to put keycaps and everything on that. Yes, absolutely. Just to throw it into the mix, one of the boards that I kind of like in that price range for 65% is actually the same price as the Ducky you were talking about a second ago. I'll drop the link into chat, but it is the Leopold FC660M. So it's not technically a 65%; it is a 66 key, but at $109, Leopold makes some great keyboards, and the keycaps that Leopold do are actually really good quality as well. Like they're true double shot PBT, which is incredibly rare and has such a low yield that it's surprising they still make them.
Yeah, and I'll be totally honest, Leopold is probably my favorite OEM keyboard manufacturer. I think they have just a fantastic lineup, both in MX and in Topra, and I think the value really is there when you're talking about OEM keyboards. So
yeah, I think you'd struggle to get the Topra versions for that price. I think we are talking very much MX switches at that price. Yeah. I think, in fact, the same keyboard is almost double the price if you go to the Topra. I'd have to double check it, but yeah, like for if I wanted a 66 key or 65%, and I was looking pre-built, that's probably the board that I would go for if I wanted to spend under $150.
Yeah, a lot of people agreeing that Leopold is pretty great.
They're just such good workhorses as well. They're great. Really are. Like story time now, but I did some contracting work a little while ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and where I was contracted to, they'd kitted out the whole office with Leopold keyboards, and everybody loved them. They just, a whole office, 60 people or so, all with Leopold keyboards, because the guy who was running the IT department didn't want to do the Dell $15 rubber dome kind of job, and everyone had Leopold keyboards. It was great to see.
Yeah. Chuletas is asking, Leopold is Topr. No, Leopold makes Topr boards, but they also make MX boards, and they're actually way more known for their MX boards.
Yeah, so when you look at the one that I shared earlier on, that was the FC660M. They also have the FC660C, which is the electrocapacitive version, or the Topr version, yes.
Could you imagine if Leopold made a Topr TKL? That could be pretty cool.
Don't they?
I don't believe so.
I thought they did an FC 980, not 980, FC 750C.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I will happily be wrong here.
Like, they may do. I'm struggling through. F750 is their TKL, I believe. Okay, so I can only find the R version, which isn't Topr.
Yeah, they do the 980C, which is their kind of 1800 approach, and then they do the 660C, which is their 6060 layout.
Yeah, they've actually got a full-size mechanical keyboard as well. I didn't realize they did that. This is MX, but they do an FC 900R. I wasn't even aware that was a thing.
900R, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, oh, you know what I should do? I should bring up a doc to start taking some notes on these, so we can start doing some comparisons. I'm gonna do that as well.
Sounds like a good idea. An office full of clicks, just get everyone blues. I don't know what switches we're using. I think they just bought like a selection of the Leopold boards and just dished them out randomly. I don't think they paid much attention to it, but yeah, they were great boards, great workhorse boards. They're really good, and they're very competitively priced as well.
Wenken says they'd be competing with Realforce, but yeah, that's the idea. It'd be cool to have a competitor to the Realforce, wouldn't it?
For sure, yeah. Can you imagine if you could get Topr boards in pretty much any layout in stock? That'd be amazing.
Yes, it would be. All right. Anyways, Topr aside, let's take a step back and focus more on the MX stuff, because we are trying to prioritize some budget here, and we are starting out, at least in this instance, with a $150 budget. So let's look at some of the things that we can get here. So Leopold FC750R is $120, $119 rather.
Yeah, with free shipping as well.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Everything's free shipping on mechanicalkeyboards.com, right? In the US, at least.
Yes, I think it depends on where you're based, but yes, I think it is free shipping. Yeah.
Okay. So TKL's $150 or less. Let's see what else we have. Can we sort by TKL? Is that a thing here?
I can't see that. Keyboards by size, yes. 10 keyless keyboards. Yeah, okay, so you can do. With this link, that link should give you keyboards sorted by TKL. And then we can sort by most popular, price lowest to highest. Let's sort by most popular. Let's see what the biggest seller is.
Yeah, let's see what they're actually selling. Unsurprisingly, the Ducky 1.2 RGB. Okay. So Ducky 1.2 RGB, $125.
Oh man, that's they've got the Ducky 1.2 Skyline TKL Double Shot PBT edition for just $99. That's a bargain.
Keyboard's getting cheaper,
huh? Yeah, I mean that's a great price.
Philco are a solid option in that price range. Yeah. We're definitely going to include Philco on this list as well.
There's also the Von Miller boards as well. So they've got the VA87M, which is $126.
126, and what was the Filco was 129 for the Magus Touch, so a little bit more expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we need some more parameters here. So we have TKL, we have 150. What else do you guys want to see? Let's limit this down even more. What other features does this this hypothetical user need here?
Yeah, what else do we need to add to this, guys? How else can we improve it?
Treeleaf is saying, hello, Jay and Quakemz. It's Treeleaf. If you would like to look for budget stuff, I would suggest Taobao because it's much, much cheaper than anything in America. Yes, that's true, but I mean, a lot of people aren't really 100% comfortable buying from Taobao in the States. Like, a lot of times people use a proxy or they just bundle with someone else's order. The site can be a little difficult to translate for some people, depending on who you are.
I think the other thing to bear in mind as well is that people who are new to the hobby, which is what we're trying to tailor this to, probably don't know about Taobao and wouldn't know about the intricacies of it, and they're probably going to want something quick. They're going to want something within a couple of weeks, not within a couple of months as well. So whilst it's really, really good, I think that's more of an advanced. Once you've been in the hobby for a little while and you're looking to expand onto maybe a second board, but you're still looking for quite a budget option, that's kind of where Taobao would come in, I would suggest.
Yeah, Taobao is a fantastic source. Absolutely, though. MK Typist is also a really good board for the price. I have not heard of that. Is that on here? MK Typist.
Geo says, hello, Stinky and Jay.
Stinky and Jay? Is that my new name?
Yeah, apparently so.
That's
I'm not sure it fits you, but...
That's not a very creative name, young Geo. You gotta do better than that, buddy.
Yeah, like, as far as insults go, that kind of... I didn't hit the mark. There is other boards out there as well. I know that I've not seen the MK Typist either, but I'll definitely have a look at that in a second.
They do have it on MK.com, but it's a full size. We're looking for TKLs at the moment. Okay,
yeah, I've not seen that before, but interesting. Okay, let's go back to the TKLs. So you added the Filco Majestuch as well, I think.
Yep.
To the dock.
$129 for that. That's our most expensive option so far.
Yes. Okay. What about the GMMK? Did they do a TKL in that?
Yep. GMMK is a TKL. I don't know if it's on here. Oh, it is on here. You can get a bare bones. That comes bare bones though. We're looking for something like fully assembled. I feel. Well, no. I mean, I guess we could just tack on the cost of things like switches and keycaps.
Yeah, I think so. I think when we start to look at the once we finish the pre-built options, we start to look at the custom options. We can definitely take a look at how we could build those up.
Yes. Glorious PC Gamer's keyboard. Yeah, that is the GMMK.
GMMK.
IKBC. Oh, I forgot about IKBC.
Man, I don't think I've ever had an IKBC board.
I never have either, but were they technically the OEM for the original poker series?
I think so. That's what I understand. Yes, I mean, I've had a poker, so technically, I guess you could say that I have. But I believe they were the original source.
They have a TKL, right? Oh, here we go. The MF87. Is this the one you're talking about? MF87
yes.
Pro. Well, this one's over budget. I'm not going to add this one. This one's over budget. However,
price range.
They do have the CD87, which is 119 plus free shipping. That's out of stock. Never mind. We're looking for things that are in stock, ready to be shipped.
What about the Durgod series of boards? Can you get those in the US? I think the K320 is the TKL version, right? But that's usually really cheap.
Durgod K320, you said?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it's the Taurus model, I think.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it on Massdrop, and it looks like you can get it on Amazon as well. So yeah, that one's $99 with free shipping on Amazon. So we'll add that to the list as well.
I've never tried one of the Durgod boards, but I have heard good things about them.
I haven't either. Anyone chat tried a Duroc, or not a Duroc, but a Durgod board?
Duroc.
Yeah. I'm so used to saying Duroc instead of...
Yeah, the Durgold looks kind of nice as well. If you're into that kind of aesthetic and you don't want something too gamery, they're kind of nice. Like the caps that come with it look pretty good. Oh, it is on drop as well. It's actually $80 on drop.
Is it?
Pre-order for $80 on drop right now. Yeah. That's kind of impressive that they can manufacture something like that for $80.
Okay. Yeah, drop is... I mean, a lot of people like to hate on drop, but as far as like entry-level keyboard stuff goes, they have a pretty wide range of things. Okay, so wait. Go to Studio, do... Where's Communities? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Keyboards. Here we go.
It takes a little while to get there.
It's been a while since I've gone to Drop's like homepage and navigated from there.
I hear you.
Like, how do you actually like? All right, here we go. Keyboards. Just keyboards, please. All right, so they have their normal array of Drop keyboards. Okay, there we go. There's the K320. We should probably also add, what is their TKL? Is that the Control? Is that what it's called?
Control, yeah. It's not the Alt, it's the Control, yes.
Control. They recently added a new one, if I recall.
PO says, ooh, a French flag keyboard. No, it's not all white, I'm afraid. That's a joke. I apologize in advance if that upsets you.
We can't make jokes on this show, Jay. Come on.
No, I know. Every time I do make a joke like that makes fun of someone, I get DMs or messages saying you shouldn't have said that. It's like, okay, fair enough.
I'm still salty about my board in Holy Pandas. Don't worry, a lot of us are salty about Holy Pandas.
The easy thing to do with Holy Pandas is just like forget they exist and use other switches instead.
It's true. So the Control is actually a slightly higher priced option. This one starts at about $250 for the high profile version, at least. Okay, bare bones low profile is $150. However, they did launch a new one recently called the Enter. Let's see what this one gets you. This one's $90. This is very, very inexpensive.
$90, man.
Okay, so we have choice of some switches here. You can get it a couple color varieties as well, but as far as switches go, you can get it in Gateron Yellow, Halo True. It looks like those are the only two options, so interesting. Very, very limited. One linear and one tactile option, and the Halo True is a very interesting tactile option. I'm kind of surprised that decided to go that route, but
I'm not sure that would be my default choice for a tactile switch.
I like the Halo True switches. I think it's a very misunderstood switch. But if someone is looking for like an actual like tactile switch, I feel like that's not usually the first to go to, just because it's kind of confusing for some people, because most people don't use them the correct way. So just a quick history lesson for you guys. The Halo True and Halo Clear switches, originally engineered by Hata of Input Club, they're designed to actually type properly. And what I mean by that is to not bottom out the switch. Most people in our hobby, they bottom out their switches. I do it, Jay does it, probably all of you in chat do it, I would imagine, or at least the vast majority of you. However, it's actually not the correct way to type. So one of the big benefits you can get from a mechanical keyboard is actually not bottoming out your switches. So the impact, it kind of compounds on your hands and your wrists over time. It's not terribly healthy ergonomically speaking. So the idea here with the Halo True and Halo Clear is that the springs are actually incredibly progressive. So this is particularly true about the Halo True. So the idea is that the spring is so heavy towards the bottom that it fights against you from bottoming out.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the way it should be, right? If you are bottoming out, you should theoretically go for heavier switches.
Yeah. I mean, if you're bottoming out switches, you should just keep upping your spring weight until you're not bottoming out your switches, and then bam, you finally get some ergonomic benefits from your mechanical keyboard.
But Brian, I bottom out 150 gram switches, so where do I go from there?
Well, you gotta get those 300-gram switches. That's the next step up, right?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine gluing the housing shut to make sure that the springs don't pop them back open?
Oh man, do you not remember Cherry MX Super Blacks?
I do, yeah, I do. The mech box in the UK, he does something called the Chad spring, which is I think it's a 900-gram spring. But if you put them in the switch, you have to glue the switch together to make sure that it holds.
Of course you do. Of course you do. That's pretty. That's barely even a novelty at that point, I think. All right, let's take a look at the Enter, because this is actually a newer keyboard in Drop's lineup. So let's see what this gets you. This is my first time looking at this listing, so bear with me, guys. Quality you can see and feel. Interesting. The caps actually don't look terribly bad, I gotta be honest. All right, so we have some flip-up feet on the bottom. It looks like... Is it high profile? I can't quite tell. It looks like it's high profile. Looks like it definitely has some lighting. So aluminum case, plate-mounted stabilizers, big surprise there. PBT double shot keycaps, double shot here in this instance, meaning that while they are double shot, the inlay is probably palm instead of PBT. This is something we've been seeing for years, nothing terribly new. USB-C and key rollover. Can we get some more information on the keyboard? It looks like they have LEDs of some sort. Not that really matters. Does our hypothetical buyer need RGB? Do they need LEDs?
It's a good one. Chat needs to decide.
Chat needs to decide for us.
Yeah. Would someone who's new to the hobby, looking for a TKL keyboard, want lighting on their keyboard?
a lot of yeses coming through. Most beginners want it. That's fair.
I was expecting someone to say crevice lighting like almost immediately, but no one did.
Oh man, that's a bit of a throwback.
Long time viewers might remember the crevice lighting escapades of early 2019.
Oh my gosh, we don't speak about those times. The before four times.
The before times.
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of people saying yes to RGB. So we'll add that as a parameter. So for this instance, let's just make sure we are doing RGB here.
Okay. New people enjoy the unicorn puke.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, sure.
I mean, it's a fair point though. I mean, most of us probably don't give a shit at all about RGB, to be fair, but a lot of new people do. It's a selling point. It really is. Okay, so I don't think this is not RGB by the looks of it.
No, but it is backlit, I think.
RGB is not mentioned at all in this post, so I'm gonna assume this is not RGB.
No, I think looking at it, I think it is just backlit. I don't think
white
there's any
LEDs.
RGB on it.
So there we go. We can cross that off our list. We're looking for RGB TKLs, $150 or less. Let's go
back to the list and see which ones we've got on there that are RGB.
We have the Ducky 1-2 RGB. Has RGB in the title,
RGB, yeah.
So I'm going to assume that's RGB. We have the Philco Magistouch, which is not RGB. We have the Leopold FC 750R, which, if I remember correctly, is also not RGB.
Correct. So they need to come off the list now.
Okay, yeah. So this is fine though. This is how this works. We can narrow some things down.
Yeah.
I mean, for all intents and purposes,
GMMK is on there as well, right? That does have RGB, I think.
Yes. Who sells an assembled version
of the GMMK?
Yes.
Like, can you not get it straight from GMMK?
I see a lot of the bare bones kits. I haven't been to Glorious's website yet for it, so bear with me. I think
you can definitely get it through the Glorious website. I'm looking right now, and I've selected USD, and I can buy it there, $110.
110. It's more expensive on Amazon. Interestingly enough, I did find an assembled version though for 120.
There we go. Link in the chat for anyone interested.
All right, so let me check it out. That one's
I kind of like the Ascend escape key actually. I don't like the RGB and I don't like the other caps, but I kind of like the Ascend escape key.
The Ascend escape key? Oh yeah. I mean, let's be real. Most OEM caps not very good, and if we're subtracting RGB from this equation, which we're not, the Leopold and Philco options probably are up there at the top. But for this example, we're looking for the RGBs because that's what you guys wanted.
Yeah, okay. So just configuring this, if you go for the US ANSI 10 keyless keyboard with 120 Gateron black switches and the black Aura keycaps, it's 132.97 with RGB.
Okay, wait. Which it doesn't really matter what switches we go with, huh? Let's just go with...
Yeah, the switches are almost all the same price. There's, I think the Kale Brown's the most expensive, I think.
What is a newcomer going to be wanting here? Well, let's say, I think Gateron... Is Gateron here?
Blacks or Reds, which are the same price, so...
Yeah, we'll just say Gateron Blacks for this hypothetical buyer. Select your keycaps. Yeah. What's the difference between the Aura keycaps and the non-Aura? Does it show it?
So I think the Aura keycaps is where you get the special edition Ascend keycap and a few other things as well, from what I understand.
Okay, well that's fairly gamery, so let's just leave that then. Still under our price here. O-rings. Do people still use O-rings? Anyone in chat here use O-rings? Do any of you use O-rings on your keyboard? I'll admit that when I was brand new, I did try out O-rings. Did not.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Do people use them?
Apparently not. Everyone in chat says no so far. Okay, yeah. No, but I did try them out. Fair enough. Never. No. Ew. Nah. So mushy. Yeah. Totally agree. Yeah, so okay, we'll forego that $10 option then. So yeah, $132.97. Let's see here.
$133 for a pre-built keyboard, TKL, with Gateron switches and a full keycap set. That's pretty good, right?
This includes a cable, right? We should assume for a new user it has to include a cable.
Yeah, 6 feet of cable included, braided cable included.
Okay, so it's a purchase one thing and you have a full keyboard experience. That's the goal here.
Yeah, you buy that selection that we set up there, the $133, and you get a fully working keyboard delivered to your door. Interestingly as well, you can get it in ISO for the same price. So
check out some of the hex gears at Kono. Okay, Kono, I don't believe, could be wrong here, I believe a lot of their hex gear stuff is sold out.
Yeah, we've been looking at the hex gear stuff for a fair bit recently, and I believe a lot of it is sold out.
Do we have... Okay, TKL. So we have... Okay, here we go. Hex Gear's Nova. It is in stock. Not every version, but you can get it with box browns, gray or blue.
Yeah, I don't think we want to be looking at the low profile ones here as well. I think we're talking full size mechanical switches rather than low pro as well.
No, the Nova's not low pro switches.
No, some of the Hexia's ones are though. Sorry, I didn't hear you say the Nova.
Oh yeah. No, the X, I believe the X1 is the only low profile one. That one's wireless, but that's actually a solid keyboard too. I gotta be honest.
The X1 and Venture are both low profile, I think. I'd have to check, but I think the Venture is low profile. You're right.
The Venture is also out of our budget, so that one doesn't matter anyways. The Hex Gear Nova is $90. It has RGB, metal, low profile keyboard, not switches. It's only available in box browns right now from Kono, but you can get it in gray or blue.
So blue's kind of nice. I was expecting it to be like a dull blue. That's kind of bright. I like that.
That's pretty bright. That's a little too bright for me personally, but that's that's certainly something. Okay, so we're basically gonna compile a list, and we're gonna try to narrow it down to a few options, and then together, chat included, we're gonna vote on what we think the best option could be, given the price point.
Yeah. Wooting is on the list, Macdon. That's definitely something I wanted to talk about shortly. And Rotsbub as well mentioned it as well. Yeah, we just haven't got there yet, but yeah.
Okay. Also something to take note. I'm not sure how it works with the Hex Gears boards, but is it programmable RGB? Because a lot of keyboards, even a lot of the really cheap ones, have quote-unquote RGB lighting, but it's like you don't have the ability to change anything. It's just RGB that moves across your keyboard. So that could be something to take in mind too, because I believe some of these do have fully programmable RGB, and some of them do not. The blue, you can get in other switches, can you? Oh, interesting. So they want, yeah, okay.
Yeah, they'll be pre-packaged like that. That's why. Yeah.
$10 more, you can get Hako clears. I like Hako clears. I got to be honest.
Yeah, they're good switches. They're not terrible.
All right, so we got the Hex Gears Nova, $20. I guess this brings us to the question: does our hypothetical buyer care about programmable RGB, or do they just want flashing RGB lights? How picky is this
I think
buyer?
they're just going to want RGB, right? But let's let chat decide.
There's an acrylic 65% on drop that has RGB backlit and is hot swap for 60. Jesus. If they're beginners, probably don't know how to program. Lunar says flashing. Ron says programmable.
Yeah. Okay. So, so just to go back to something that we mentioned a few minutes ago, I've been having a look at the Wooting, because I did want to talk about it because it is kind of one of the more interesting keyboards in that kind of price bracket. But it's $166 when I check it here, so it technically falls outside of our $150 remit, I'm afraid, guys.
Yes.
Interesting fact as well. I was one of the first Kickstarter backers for the Wooting one. Was it Kickstarter or was it Indiegogo? Can't remember. Whichever way around it was.
MacDon is saying it's 140 in the US.
Oh, interesting. Maybe it's because of where I'm looking for it, but it does say if I change it to $166. Hold on, let me change my VPN to.
Where are you looking at it?
Site directly.
Okay, because it's probably going to be a little bit more directly from their site, I would assume.
Okay, and changing my VPN meant that I lost a lot of chat, so I can't see that. But yeah, I'm okay. I've changed over. Let me refresh the page now. It still shows $166.
It shows 140 for me, but it also shows that it's sold out. So it's
interestingly, it says it is in stock here and it ships within 3 days. Yeah. Okay, but it's $166. Either way, it's not in stock if folks in the US, even if it's in stock here in the EU.
Well, maybe it's in stock somewhere else. We can probably check on like maybe Amazon or something.
Sure.
Give that a try. Okay, so here $145 a Wooting one from Amazon.
Very nice.
So we can add that to the list too. And the Wooting one brings a lot of other interesting things to the party as well.
It does. It does. It's not just RGB. It's not just PBT keycaps. It's not just N key rollover.
It's an analog keyboard.
Full analog keyboard, yeah, which is kind of interesting.
Fun fact: we've actually had the Wooting guys on the show before, back in like 2017, I believe, when they were still first starting up.
Was that Tom or was it one of the other guys?
I can't remember their names. It would still be on YouTube, I imagine. We had 2 people on it. Yeah, I think that was still year 1, so that one might be on Huey's channel. Korean gaming layout is only 120, is it?
That's interesting because that's they're just different keycaps, I think, on the Korean gaming layout. I think.
Yeah, one thing I will note that is pretty nice about the Wooting board is that the switches are very, very smooth because they don't need a compact loop.
FlareTech switches are great. They're just a really good switch.
Yeah, so this is actually a pretty good option, I will be honest. Adjustable actuation, analog, RGB. Not too shabby there. So we got the Wooting 1. So we have the Ducky 1-2 RGB, the GMMK, the Hex Gears Nova, and the Wooting 1 so far. Okay.
There was the Keychron boards as well that we were going to look at.
Keychron.
Yeah, I think it's the K8 is the TKL version.
Keychron K8, $69. Nice.
Need to check it to change it to RGB backlit though.
Yeah,
we did say
I'm too
RGB
caught up.
backlit.
I'm too caught up in the 69 apparently. All right, so yes, $89 for the RGB backlit aluminum frame, or $79 for just the RGB backlit. So I'm assuming plastic frame on that. So we have Gateron mechanical. We have Keychron optical. So does that mean the PCB is different then?
Yes, it is a different PCB for that one. Yes.
They must have two versions.
They do, yeah. They have a PCB that comes with the standard Gateron switches. Whether you pick the hot swap, if you pick the hot swap one, I think they've got three PCBs because they've got the hot swap one, they've got the standard pre-soldered one, and then they've got the optical one as well, which is also hot swap.
This is moot, at least on their website, because both RGB versions are sold out.
There we go then, guys. That's another one off the list.
So there we go. Let's see. Let's go back to Drop real quick and see if they have any other TKL RGBs in stock here. Remember, we are looking for in stock. That's important.
Yeah, yeah. Ink and Sharp says, if you're willing to, that sounds like a tattoo username, Ink and Sharps. If you're willing to deal with shipping times, Womia, the K66 and K87 is pretty good value if you get the hot swap versions. I haven't actually tried one of those boards, to be honest.
The Womia, is it?
Yeah, K87.
Okay. Yeah, I'm learning a lot already. K87.
It's available on Amazon.
It's also available on KP Republic. Oh my, that is bright.
I mean, that's something.
Okay, it is RGB. It is TKL. USB Type-C. Nice. Okay.
Interestingly, the image here says it's fully transparent glass shell. I'd be very surprised if that was made of glass.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So it comes in 3 switch varieties: blue, brown, and red. What kind of switch? Gateron switches. Okay, not bad. We like to see that. Plexiglass. Okay, that's apparently it's plexiglass.
Okay. So it's not glass; it's plexiglass. Okay, so it's acrylic.
Yeah, that's maybe a little misleading for some people, but all right. Okay, so we can add that one to the list as well. How many should we get up to before we start comparing them? That's the real question.
I think like 6 or 7 is probably a good number. We're probably about there, and then we can start to have a look through them.
This one has $12 shipping, so that's a little bit more expensive there. Cross the $100 boundary there on Amazon at least. So 402. Okay. Okay. So we have the Womi. How do you pronounce that? Is it like French? Is it like Wamier or something?
I think it's just the Womia, yeah.
No Prime. They effed up. Yeah, I guess they did. It'd be funny. Oh, okay.
Iwane saying the DAS keyboard 4C. Like, I've not used any of the DAS keyboards for a long time, but the last time I remember looking at the DAS keyboards, they were like full size, I think, with the little knob in the top right. I don't know if that's changed.
That was a while ago, yeah. 4C. Okay. We can check out straight from their website, I guess. See what the price is like there. And I haven't seen a DOS keyboard in a while.
Yeah, neither have I. Oh, they do TKL.
Do they do an
got
RGB
an interesting
TKL,
chevron
though?
shape.
Is this RGB?
So I can't see that it says anywhere that it is RGB. But they do it in a UK layout. Nice. Interestingly as well, it also says it's PBS keycaps, not PBT. PBS keycaps.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the RGB on this one, so this one might have to take a little bit of a pass.
Interestingly, if I go to the Get Digital UK site, which is the UK vendor for desk keyboards, it says they'll actually ship it in 12 hours and 8 minutes.
12 hours and 8 minutes, huh?
Yeah, 12 hours. We'll ship next in 12 hours and 8 minutes. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Down to the minute. You love to see it.
Yeah.
For the sake of this, should we also include the offerings from the likes of Corsair and Razer? Do they have any $150?
Let's let chat decide. Do we want to include branded things such as OEM, Corsair, Razer? Do we want to look at those boards as well, or do you think we want to keep it more to the lesser known brands or the more customized brands? I guess.
I mean, we are keyboard enthusiasts. We should probably try to stick to the less mainstream brands, right?
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, exactly.
But
like,
no chance RPG says Master Keys, and I gotta be honest. Cooler Master does have some pretty decent offerings.
I've not used a Cooler Master keyboard in a long time, so I couldn't tell you whether they have anything good at or not. This is making me realize how out of touch I am with pre-built keyboards. I mean, I've got to be honest.
Like, the thing about
I'm
OEM
so out of touch with this
is there's so many coming out like all the time. Right? It's not even like it's not really possible to keep up with them anymore.
But even so, like I don't even know what Cooler Master make anymore. I couldn't give you the name of even one of their keyboards. The CK530 V2. I couldn't have named that. I just couldn't have done.
CK530. So the Cooler Master CK530 does have RGB and it is a TKL. And it's
I have no idea if it's in the price range though.
It's $80.
Okay.
This is kind of interesting. What kind of switches does this use? This does not look like a Cooler Master board.
This looks like it's something else rebranded.
That's what I was thinking.
Like that feels like it's something else rebranded.
Historically, Cooler Master has only ever used cherry switches, apart from the Nova Touch, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of interesting. This doesn't actually say what kind of switches it uses.
Just says red switch, blue switch, brown switch. Yeah,
which is a little worrying.
Interestingly, if you look at the SK631, which is another Cooler Master board, it does say that there was a cherry MX switches, although that's low profile, so it's out of the equation for this one. So. Yeah, they usually will say if it's.
So we can probably assume something like Otemu, or comparable.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's going to be something like that.
Let's see. What do you think, chat? Should we add the CK530? I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced
either. They also have the MK730, which is another TKL that they do, but I'm not sure what the price is on that either. It doesn't actually give me a price listing here because it's not available in the UK.
Let's go. Let's see what Amazon has for this. Master Keys Pro.
Do they not do the CM Storm anymore? Because that was one of the boards that got me into keyboards. Like,
I don't think they call it that anymore.
What happened to the CM Storm range, chat?
I mean, I think they just changed branding.
What did it become?
Is Master Keys not a thing anymore? Did they change their branding again?
I think they're just Cooler Master keyboards now.
Keyboard. Cooler Master has some very different products from what they used to have. I'll give them that.
Right, the whole product line has completely changed. I had no idea that they even had any of these. They don't do the CM Storm anymore. Ah, oh, man. Yeah, I went from a Poker 3 to a CM Storm before I actually came back into custom keyboards. It was kind of a downgrade at the time, but I didn't realize that until a long time later.
I'm surprised they got rid of the Master Keys branding, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That was like their whole like shtick. They did like the master keys, and they had like the master case or whatever.
The CM Storm Striker, yeah, that was the huge one. Tim Tamale, yeah, that was massive. Yeah, the one that I had was just the standard TKL, quite boxy, and I actually hydro dipped the top case of that at one point, and went for like a wood effect on top. So yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Let me boot up the old PC part picker for a second and go to their keyboard section.
I've got to be honest though, if it's this difficult to find what you're wanting, is a new person to the hobby going to find it?
Probably not. Probably not. But
so I think we can probably discount it on that basis, right?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Totally fair. Okay, so we have 5 keyboards on the list here so far, guys. So we have the Ducky 1-2 RGB, the GMMK, the Hexgears Nova, the Wooting 1, and the Womir K87 RGB. What other boards that are under $150 that are TKL with RGB would you guys call leading in their class? Like, what do you think are the most premium boards in that category with those parameters?
I don't know of any others that fit that bill.
Because we definitely need a couple more here to really do some more comparisons.
Without saying, looking at the Razer boards and things like that, I can't think of any others that fit the. Oh, what about the Royal Kludge? Actually, is that still available? Is that still something that exists?
The Royal Kludge,
because that was definitely RGB, right?
Yes. Well, they had RGB. So they had. I don't know about any of their MX boards, but they used to do the ones with the NIS domes and sliders, the FOPRA, as some people like to refer to as.
The FOPRA, yeah.
or NOPRA. Let's check it out. Royal Kludge.
Okay, yes, it's the 87G. Yeah, I found it here on Amazon UK, so I don't know if it's available in the US.
The 87G.
Yeah, it might be different in the US. I don't know if the code's the same, but yeah, the Royal Kludge is definitely still there.
Yeah, the Sync 87G. This is wireless. What the heck?
Yeah.
It's only $55. I think for the sake of this example, what we really need to do is try to push the boundaries in this price bracket. So instead of just trying to like save as much money as possible and like cut as many corners, we should really try to max out that budget and get like as premium an offering as we can. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Because obviously there are like $40, $50, $60 keyboards that like technically have RGB, right? Like there's countless amounts of those.
Sure.
And I believe that this is sort of just another one of them. But in this instance, we should really try to look for something a lot more premium.
What about the Steel Series boards? The Apex 7 seems to fit the bill.
Yeah, but then you're kind of getting in the territory of why them and not Cooler Master and Corsair and Razer.
Sure, that's fair.
They're a bit more mainstreamy, I guess you might say. Okay. I'm just doing one quick look over on Drop to see what else they potentially have. What is this? Smart Duck XS87 RGB TKL. This is $48. This is very inexpensive. Okay, it's $60 with switches. Okay. $48 with that. So that's kind of a hot swap board. Hot swap, a pretty good feature for beginners, though, to be fair.
Yeah, it's not bad for beginners, yeah.
Let me see what chat's saying here. I haven't really looked up in a while. MK730 is a Cooler Master TKL with cherry switches. Okay. Unless you go mainstream gamer boards, not really sure what there is. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the purpose of this, too, because, I mean, Jay and I are pretty out of the loop on the OEM keyboards, so we're kind of just learning together, you know?
We are picking it back up. And bringing ourselves back up to speed with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, attempting to at least. It's tough, man. The landscape for this is just so different than it used to be.
I mean, keyboards are a thing though now. They didn't used to be, but they are absolutely a thing now. And yeah, it's crazy just how much it's grown from a manufacturer perspective, never mind just in the custom world.
Oh man, I forgot about this. The heavy shell barracks. That's an interesting one. RGB
I don't think I've ever even heard of that.
So it's not on drop right now, but I think it might be available somewhere else. KP Republic. This is probably going to be outside of the price range, I would assume. Okay, yeah, $230 here. Never mind.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like it's way over.
Yeah, definitely. I just totally forgot about that keyboard. It actually comes with some okay looking keycaps, though, to be fair.
Nice.
Okay, it looks like that's pretty much it for drop. Does Varmillo have any RGB offerings?
So Rotzpub actually says in chat the VA87M is RGB and on Z Frontier was $150. So that puts it right up there at the top of the price bracket.
Varmillo VA87M RGB.
Yeah, the VA87M.
Apparently, it's also on MK.com.
Nice.
It's over budget on MK.com though, sadly. Maybe it's somewhere else within budget. Z Frontier, huh? Is it in stock on Z Frontier? Oh wait, here we go. $149. That's cutting it pretty close.
That's really close.
Double rainbow RGB. What does double rainbow RGB mean?
Is that because they have the rainbow on the spacebar?
I hope so, because that's hilarious, if so.
It is kind of cute, though, with that rainbow spacebar. I do kind of like that.
I mean, yeah, it looks pretty adorable. So, cherry switches, PBT keycaps. One cool thing about Varmillo is they do tend to be up there in quality as far as OEMs are concerned, so you usually do get some decent PBT keycaps and such.
Jay Shuff is asking, are we memeing?
Are you memeing? No, it looks fantastic. What are you talking about? I mean, sure, it looks goofy, but like, open your mind a little bit.
Cute.
It's not. It's cute. It's cute. Let's be real, guys.
If I put my head into the whole I'm new to mechanical keyboards, it's like, oh, that's cute. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta remember, we're trying to look at this from like a brand new novice perspective, right? We're not looking at this as battle-hardened keyboard enthusiasts that have been around for years and have, dozens of Korean customs and such. This is supposed to be a very kind of new take on this. So would our hypothetical buyer appreciate those kind of keycaps?
I think they most likely would. Also,
this might be sold out.
So someone's just messaged me on Discord and said, have they stolen Midnight Rainbow? I think. Well, this isn't Midnight Rainbow. This is like Noon Rainbow. I guess that would be the alternative.
Yeah. So this is moot from Z Frontier because they were out of stock for every version. Even though it says in stock in this title, which is kind of hilarious.
It's not in stock.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, so no go there. All right, what else? We still have the same 5. I feel like we should get at least one more before we start to compare some of these.
I don't know if there is anything else. So that's the thing, dude. We've got some pretty harsh kind of requirements to meet here. I can't find anything else that actually fits that list.
All right. So fully assembled keyboard, RGB lighting, TKL, under $150, but as good as you can possibly get it.
Like, yeah, I can find the really cheap keyboards that are probably not great, but I can't find anything else that would challenge anything on the list.
Man,
As far as
I think this in essence is really kind of showing us how difficult it is coming into the hobby these days. Trying to buy an
For
OEM,
sure,
you have
yeah.
$150 budget. Maybe you got some Christmas money. You're like 16 or 15 or something, and like you have no idea what to buy.
Yeah, Chronoman, the GMMK TKL is on the list. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of our current 5. Ducky 1-2 RGB, GMMK RGB, Hex Gears Nova, Wu-Ting 1, and the Womir K87 RGB are all currently on the list, ranging from about $90 to $145 between the 5. Yeah, so I think the Enter is pretty much the only option from drop here because the Control is definitely out of the price range.
Yeah, it's a little bit more money, isn't it?
RGB TKL. Let's just search RGB TKL on MK.com and see what comes up here besides the 1-2.
So Wan is saying, what about the NIS TKL? Can we have that? Because although it's electrocapacitive, can we consider that as an option?
So chat is our hypothetical buyer today. So what do you guys think? Would you guys as hypothetical buyers be open to non-MX format switches as a novice? Because I feel like it's a little bit hard to talk someone into electrocapacitive domes because they might not really understand it at first. They might not understand why, if at all, it is better than the MX format.
Yeah, let us know what you think, chat. Let us know what you think.
Okay. I probably wouldn't have bought non-MX as a beginner. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of the same. Because when you come into the hobby, like, what's the first thing that you see? Cherry MX switches, right? You do Google search of mechanical keyboards, a lot of the OEMs you're going to find are going to use Cherry MX switches. And, you do a little digging, and, despite what the facts may be, a lot of people think that, they are the best switches. Because they have that legacy.
Well, J-Perm says... I probably wouldn't have bought a non-MX as a beginner. And Tim Smiley says, most beginners probably not, and J Shuff agrees with that. So
stick with MX, says Chronoman. Okay, so yeah, we'll rule out the capacitive switches for this portion.
Yeah. I think that's right. I think that's the right decision to rule those out.
So MK.com has the VA87M RGB, but it's $9 over budget. Got to stay within budget, guys. Very important. Let's see.
I think most worry about the layout and the colors. Yeah, I think you're probably right, Scott Water. People worry more about aesthetics than necessarily. I think aesthetics and price are the two things that drive a lot of people in the startup of the hobby, and what they find aesthetic is probably different to what the custom scene does. So yeah, it's interesting.
Well, this is kind of interesting. They have a returned section on MK.com where you can find some decent deals. Here's a Wu-Ting 1 RGB for $109.
$109. That's a bargain price.
That's kind of a bargain, honestly. Same thing with the Ducky 1-2 RGB, TKL RGB, $105. Is our hypothetical buyer okay with buying something that isn't brand new? That's something else to consider. A lot of people don't like buying used products or returned products or refurbished products, A lot of people have to have that brand new out-of-the-box experience.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking about the aftermarket, a lot of people that are new to the hobby don't realize why aftermarket keyboards sell for more, given the fact that they're secondhand. Because in every other market, secondhand items tend to cost less than what they do brand new.
Yeah. Let me refine this search just a little bit, guys.
Oh yeah, the WASD keyboards. I'd completely forgot about those. Let's have a look. Do they have a TKL? Okay, they do. The V387 key custom mechanical keyboard, but it's $170. I don't see WASD having a keyboard in the price range. Yeah, sorry. they're not in the price range Scott Water. I also don't think they have RGB as well, unless I'm missing that.
Iwane says they want new. All right, we'll stick with new things. We won't worry about returned things then. Okay, I'm on MK.com right now. I'm sorting by RGB and TKL, and there are very few options. In fact, the only really one that we can add to our list here is the 1.2 RGB. Everything else is too expensive, or it's the GMMK that isn't assembled. Okay. So that rules out the rest of MK.com, and I think we found everything else on drop as well. What other sources should we be looking at for this particular product, guys?
I mean, where are people going to look? They're going to go to Google. They're going to go to Amazon. I think that's probably where most people are going to draw the line, right? Unless they find like a specific website that sells a lot of things like mechanicalkeyboards.com. I think that's where they're going to start to struggle, unless you start to look at the places that sell PC components and things.
True. Newegg? Oh yeah, I forgot about Newegg. Let's see. Let's go to Newegg. Let's see what Newegg has in stock. RGB TKL. Something that isn't Cooler Master, Logitech, etc. Probably bundle ASUS in there as well. Here's a brand called First Player. Seems like a very budget-friendly brand. Why is the Wu-Ting one $312 here?
That seems slightly more expensive than I'd expect it to be.
I mean, it's almost twice the cost of where it was on Amazon. Okay, we need to find, like... I guess we don't really need to find one more before we compare, but... I feel like... Oh, wait, what is this? Cherry MX 8.0 RGB TKL N key rollover, $572. Why is this so expensive? I don't understand this at all.
Is it a limited edition or something?
The MX Brown version is $744 or $62 a month.
Wow.
Oh my god, it actually says pink color for girls on this listing.
Well, I have pink keyboards.
What am I looking at right now?
Pink color for girls? What?
This is... I'm with 159 here. This is truly an XD. What is going on here?
Yeah, no worry, guys. I'm not gonna have my keycol. I'm gonna have my my cherry keyboard in pink because, yeah.
I mean, I realize this is a third-party seller, I don't understand how this listing exists. Who's buying this?
No one. That's why the listing hasn't changed or gone away.
Korn Electronics is already a ridiculous name. Are Korn Electronics really trying to take advantage of people here? Because what the heck is this? This is a limited time offer, apparently. Maybe it's
yeah,
more expensive.
It's limited time offer because it's a tenth of the price normally. Yeah.
Please, I think I'll just save the $200 and go with the Cherry MX Red version. Thanks. Not pink color for boys. Yeah, why can't boys use pink
Well, exactly. Keyboards? Yeah. I have pink keyboards.
I have pink
What's wrong with a pink keyboard?
Yeah. This is
I'm getting sidetracked. Money laundering. Yeah, you could be right. I have seen some product listings that are very similar to that for money laundering reasons. Yeah.
I guess so. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. All right. Red Dragon. Nah, it's a little too low level. What is this? The Gons RGB TKL. What is this? RGB Cherry MX switches. tactile and clicky. Wow. I like this listing is fantastic. 360-degree LED backlit for FPS. LOL. Wow. If that's not a gamer listing, I don't know what is.
I wanted to say that the LOL stood for laugh out loud, but it probably stands for League of Legends, in that context.
Yeah. This is going to Newegg was might have been a mistake here. This is just hilarious.
Who suggested Newegg? Let's ban them. Who did suggest Newegg?
I don't remember.
Luna Sama.
Oh, we can't ban Lunar. That'd be.
I don't know.
We can't ban Lunar.
Don't ban me. We're not really gonna ban you.
Oh my gosh. All right, we'll just assume that we'll pick from these 5. How about that? This is.
Well, I think we're gonna have to because we can't find anything.
We can't find anything else. And this is already taking a lot longer than I expected it to. I got to be honest. I was hoping to accomplish a lot more this episode within a time frame, but it's not looking like this. We might have to do a follow up at some point with a little bit better of a structure. This was kind of a last minute thing, so I'll apologize for that, guys. Like I said earlier, we're not really feeling too well today, so we wanted to do something a little bit more casual, a little bit more inventive, and try to bring chat along for the ride.
Yeah. So DJ Sato, what we're actually doing is trying to find the best keyboard we can within a set price range and parameters set by chat. So today they've come up with a RGB TKL for under $150. So we're trying to find the best keyboard in that price bracket that we can that's pre-built. So we have a few options on the list, and now we're going to take a look at them and kind of pick which one we'd go for, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly
which is the one we want to pick.
We've had the same 5 listed for a while now while we look for other options as well. We're not including like the big mainstream brands, like the biggest ones like Corsair, Razer, Cooler Master, Logitech, things like that, because those are the kind of easy choices, I guess. We're trying to find a little bit more value than that. All right. All right, should we set up like a straw poll? We should probably go over the options while we do this as well. Do you want to set up a straw poll, Jay, while I kind of walk through a couple of these?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay. So we have back to mechanical keyboards.
Do you want to give me the list again?
Yeah, so it's the Ducky 1-2 RGB.
Ducky 1-2 RGB, yep.
And then we have the GMMK, which we did spec out to $133.
Yep.
Give me a second here. Then we have the Hexgears Nova. That was on Kono. That's our cheapest option.
Hexgears Nova, yep.
And then we have the Wooting 1.
Yep.
And the Womier or Womier K87.
Okay.
Womier, Ducky. Were we on Glorious's website for the GMMK? Yeah, we were. Okay.
We were. Yeah, it was on the Glorious website. Yes.
So 10 keyless. I'm trying to get it. I should have saved these links. For whatever reason, I closed a couple of them.
Okay. So keyless. I have a straw poll ready.
Okay. So we're just kind of gonna go through some options and maybe talk about how we feel about these particular setups, and then we can kind of have a little vote on it as well. Suck your keycaps, whatever. Black Aura.
Sounds good.
No, wait, why is this? Oh, okay, because you can get all the keycaps if you want. That makes sense. We'll just go with one. It's 133. Okay, we have the Hexgears Nova. And the Wooting 1. Where did we find the Wooting? Was that on Amazon as well?
It was on Amazon, yeah.
For that price, rather. Okay, that has 2 switch options, blue and red. Okay. Oh, the blue switch option is actually a few dollars cheaper even. All right. So this is our final 5 list so far, guys. So remember the parameters: TKL, RGB, under $150,
pre-built
and pre-built. So you had an OEM keyboard rather. So no customs here at the moment. That'll have to be another time. So let's walk through some of these because I'm fairly unfamiliar with several of these to begin with.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll post the straw poll up now, and then people can have a look. But those are the 5 boards that we're going to be looking at, and seeing if we can work out which one would be our pick with that budget and that specification.
Yes, totally agree. I'm just trying to rearrange these in the order that we're going to be talking about them. All right, so let's go ahead and start out with the Ducky 1.2 RGB TKL. So Ducky, obviously a pretty popular brand. Among the gaming brands, rather. Not as big as the big boys, Razer and Corsair and what have you, but as far as OEM mechanical keyboards are concerned, they're definitely up there. So you do get a little bit of the lineage there, a little bit of the history. Have you used a Ducky keyboard in your life, Jay?
I have, but I've not used this specific one. Like my experience of Ducky keyboards is that for the price, they're generally well put together. They feel fairly solid, and they've got a good reputation because they are pretty damn good keyboards. That's kind of like the gut feel I get from them.
Yep, I more or less agree. I think I've owned 2 or 3 Ducky keyboards in my life. I've owned a Shine Mini. Actually, maybe I've only owned I've used 3 or 4 of them, but I've only owned a Shine Mini. And I think you're right. I think they're fine. I don't think they really kind of bring that super high-end premium feel.
Sure, I agree.
Compared to something like a Philco or a Leopold, which does just feel nicer and sturdier and more premium overall. But obviously, those brands don't have RGB options, so this is what we're looking at here.
And just to say that on this, I think that parameter is the one that really makes this much more difficult, because there are so many good keyboards out there that we've just had to cut out of the loop because of that RGB requirement. So note to newcomers, if you're watching this, consider not having your flashy fancy lights.
Definitely. But hey, the RGB parameter was set. A lot of people in chat wanted to see that over the non-version, so it definitely did make things a little bit more difficult, I would say. Because otherwise, sure, I think we would probably be looking at like a Philco Leopold kind of final round sort of thing.
I would be all over a Leopold in this price bracket if we weren't looking for RGB.
Yeah, so here what do we have? We have the RGB, we have the TKL, $125. It's going to come with basically your choice of cherry switches. So pretty easy stuff there. Free bonuses, whatever, don't really matter. What do you guys think? Is this going to be the winner? Really garbage boards. Wow, nice.
Maybe.
So no other real features of note, in my opinion. This is a pretty straightforward kind of keyboard, as a lot of OEMs tend to be. Nothing really special or fancy about it. Yeah,
you're not getting anything out of the ordinary with this, right? You're just getting a good solid keyboard for the price, a good solid mechanical keyboard for the price. That's the thing.
Yeah, so obviously the straw poll is there in chat, guys, so you can go ahead and pick there. But we're kind of going through these at the moment. Next up, we have the Glorious Gaming Race, or whatever their Glorious PC Gaming Race keyboard, the GMMK.
Yeah.
What does GMMK stand for? It's something modular, right?
Yeah, the Glorious Modular Mechanical Keyboard,
go, yeah,
I think.
Okay. Yes, you are right. So this one is going to be about $133, so a little bit more expensive, but you do get hot swap with this one, which could be a really big feature for new people wanting to try some new switches. They don't want to invest in some soldering equipment or have to pay someone else to do it, for example. So hot swap could be a pretty good feature, depending on who you are. Still has the RGB. This is a low-profile keyboard versus the higher-profile Ducky 1.2.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks like a very well-designed board, but that low profile lets it down for me. Like, that's not something I like to see. Now, I get that a lot of people who are new to the hobby do like it, and they like it to see the RGB, so I probably can't really count that as a negative on this one. But I don't know. It just feels like it's a little bit. Can I say? Dare I say it feels a little bit overpriced?
Yeah, yeah, you could definitely say that. I mean, this particular one feels maybe a little overpriced. I mean, Gateron Switch is very inexpensive. We do have the RGB here. We have the hot swap, but I mean, what else are you really paying for here? Let's be real. One kind of interesting thing that someone pointed out in chat is it does have a key puller on the back, which is kind of an interesting feature. But what about a switch puller? Does this come with a switch puller?
You'd expect it to, right? But I don't think it will do.
Yeah, I'm not going to say one way or the other because I don't see it here yet.
It's not listed anywhere.
Okay. So that's something to consider as well. Keycaps obviously pretty easy to take off, but switch is a little bit more difficult. Not that a switch puller is, expensive per se, but
yeah, I don't think this is a bad board, and I see it get recommended a lot. So I think a lot of people must be interested in it. It just feels a little bit high on the price side for me, given the specs compared to the other boards in this list.
Okay, so let's move over to our cheapest of our current 5-board lineup, the Hexgears Nova. So this one, options are fairly limited. You can get it in gray or blue, at least from Kono here. In box whites, box browns, or Hako clears. Those are all Kale switches. And the gray version only has a box brown available at the moment. But the blue version, which is quite vibrant, does come with all 3 switch varieties. So we get the RGB. I still think... Here.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, you get the RGB. We're still way under budget. But does it compete with something like the Ducky 1.2 RGB, which is, a little bit more expensive?
Yeah. And I think the biggest letdown for this particular board for me is the fact that it does have such a limited option when it comes to switches. Like that's the big letdown on this one for me. I think looks-wise, it's reasonably okay. I kind of like that it's got the band around the middle and stuff like that. It feels like it's got a little bit more going on from a design perspective, even if the design's not for me personally. It feels like it's got a bit more thought in it from that perspective. But the lack of options for switches is what really lets this one down.
Yeah. We also have to take a look at the bottom row here, which is very much a non-standard bottom row.
Yeah, so you're going to struggle with replacement keycaps.
Yeah, so keep in mind, guys, is our hypothetical buyer someone that'll care about that? All right, moving right along, we have the Wu-Ting 1, which comes up towards the higher end of our budget, $145 for this one, but it does bring a lot of interesting things to the party. So this is the only one on our list that's actually an analog keyboard. So it has an adjustable actuation point, and you can get the other analog features depending on what you're doing. Let's say you're in, I don't know, what's a good example? Like a racing game, for example. And, you have a key that you can press down, and maybe you press it down just a little bit to go very slowly, or you press it down more to go even faster. That's a very rudimentary example, but obviously you guys can put your minds to use in whatever game or, but it's analog. So it senses it along the way, and depending on how hard you're pressing it, you can get different inputs. And that, to a lot of people, might be kind of irrelevant, and you probably won't even use that feature for a lot of people, but if you can actually harness that feature, I think it could be a really good purchase.
Yeah, I think this is the Switch is again limited here, but these are some excellent switches as well. Like, I know we've talked about this before, but the feeling on the FlareTech switches, they are so smooth that it's almost unbelievable that they are actually mechanical switches. Well, I mean, they're not mechanical, they're analog switches, but it's almost unbelievable when you consider that there are physical movement parts in those switches, how smooth they are as well. They're really, really nice.
Yeah, they are. This is actually a keyboard. This is the only keyboard on our list, actually, that I have used before. I do have actual experience with the Wu-Ting 1. And,
yeah, I own one.
Yeah, and it's honestly a pretty cool keyboard. The analog's pretty cool. You get the standard bottom row. The keycaps honestly don't look that bad, and the switches are very, very smooth.
Yeah, like it's the most interesting of the lot because of how customizable it is as well. Because you can change the actuation point in the Switch as well. Like, you can go into the settings and you can change where the actuation point is, which is really cool.
Yeah. Enemy's friend is asking, did any of them have QMK or similar capability? None of the ones that we're looking at today do, no. So in this kind of parameter, the idea is that a brand new buyer wouldn't necessarily need programmability, especially on a TKL format. So there you go. There's the Wu-Ting one. And then we also finally have the Womier K87 RGB, which is relatively inexpensive as well. So this one's about $84 plus $12 shipping there. So what is that, $96?
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty inexpensive too. Now I don't really know too much about this one either, but it does have USB-C, which is pretty cool.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that it had USB-C. That is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the this particular board either. Like, it's a brand that I've heard of but never seen anyone use, which I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. So this is an acrylic case, right? Is that what we?
Yes.
Yeah, plexiglass. Yeah, so this is definitely, maybe not as premium as some of the other offerings, but it is cheaper. Obviously, it comes in 3 different switches, blue, brown, and red. But we don't know. Wait, no, these are Gaterons, right? Yeah. These ones are Gaterons. It was the other one that we didn't know. So Gateron switches. So that's pretty cool. We know the manufacturer of the switches has USB-C, has the RGB, and I don't know. Would our hypothetical gamer like this much RGB in their keyboard? Because the other keyboards, it's all about the RGB and the switches, but here you get a lot of the RGB through the case as well. That could be something to consider.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's a turn off for me personally, but I can see why people new to the hobby would like that.
Yeah, we do have a standard layout, so replacing caps, not too shabby. Can you link the straw poll again?
Yes, I can definitely do that.
I'm curious to see what people have been voting for.
There we go.
Although I think
okay, well, we've talked about all 5. If you were this person buying one of these boards, Brian, what would you pick? What would you go for out of this list?
I think for me, I'd probably take a pass at the Womier K87 because, like you, I kind of just don't really appreciate the look of it. I think it's fine, and it seems alright for the price, and I appreciate that it comes with Gateron switches as opposed to one that I probably wouldn't like nearly as much. And I do appreciate the USB-C, but I don't know. This is just not really for me. So I'd have to take a pass on that. The Hex Gears Nova, I'd probably pass on. This seems like one of the better value options, though, because it is the cheapest option. It does actually come with quite a bit of stuff for the price. So
yeah, value for money, I think that's a good option.
I respect the value here, definitely. So I don't know if I'd go for this just because of the look. I'm not a big fan of the low-profile keyboards, but I'm not our hypothetical buyer as well, so let's keep that in mind. So low profile, it's just not really for me. I'd pass on that. Same thing with the GMMK. If I can avoid low profile, I probably will. So that leads us to the Wu-Ting one, which is low profile. However, it does have the analog switches, which is, to me, interesting enough to warrant getting over the fact that it is low profile. So for me, it would be a battle between the Wu-Ting one and the Ducky 1-2 RGB. And I think at the end of the day, I'd probably pick the Wu-Ting just because it's a more interesting keyboard. But if I'm being honest, I think the Ducky 1-2 is probably the most premium out of all the offerings overall.
Sure. Yeah, I think I probably agree with you. I think my pick would be the Wu-Ting one, but that's mainly because I know how good those switches are and how they feel. I think the Ducky 1-2 is probably going to be most people's first pick, and I appreciate that chat here might vote differently on that, but I feel like the Ducky 1-2 Mini is probably where most people would go, so it gets a special mention. But for me, my personal choice would be the Wu-Ting one. I agree with you on the GMMK, the Nova, and the Womier. I think absolutely the Hex Gears the Nova gets the budget award. Like, if we were going to say, if you're on a budget and $150 is still way too much, that's the one out of these 5 that I would go for. But going by the parameters we set, I'd probably personally pick the Wu-Ting as well.
Yeah. So wait, we have we do have the straw poll as well. So not a whole lot of votes. Not a lot of you voting, which is kind of unfortunate. But with the votes that we do have so far, the Wu-Ting one is in a commanding lead. So obviously, out of the people that have voted, they probably respect the fact that it does have the analog switches, and it is a very neat keyboard, very smooth switches as well. So that's one thing to consider. While I think the Ducky 1-2 might be the most premium of the option, I do think the Wu-Ting one is definitely the most interesting. And if smooth switches is what our hypothetical buyer will be wanting, then I think the Wu-Ting one is without a doubt the best of the options. The hypothetical gamer might like a gaming mode / ability to turn off the WID key. Oh, that's true as well.
Yeah, quite a few of the boards have that functionality. I know you can do it with the Wu-Ting. I think you can do it with the hex gears as well. Yeah, I don't know about the others. I would be very surprised if you couldn't do that on most of these boards, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of the more gaming centric boards tend to have that feature.
How smooth are Flaretex versus Gateron linears? They're smoother than Gaterons.
Yeah, it's
they're uncannily smooth. Like they're so good.
Yeah, there's no need for a metal leaf, right? Because it's an optical switch.
Yeah, it's just the stem and the spring. That's all that's inside the switch. Just the stem and the spring.
Yes. You want to try?
As far as I know, the only board you can get them in is the Wu-Ting. I don't know of any other board that uses them.
I'm not sure either. The Wu-Ting is the only one I've seen them in. I mean, one was hot swap, so you can definitely do it there. Yeah. The Wu-Ting one is hot swap, but you got to remember for a hot swap board, this is something to keep in mind as well. So this obviously uses optical switches, and that won't be usable in other hot swap boards, and like vice versa. So you couldn't just put standard MX switches in here either. Whereas something like the GMMK, which was on our list, also, this does have the standard MX hot swap, so you can try out lots of different switches in here, and that's definitely one of the defining features of this versus the other keyboards on our list.
Yeah, they also last longer as well. So the interesting thing about the Flaretex switches is that they're not rated for 50 million key presses like Cherry MX. They're actually rated for 100 million, which is crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, when you remove the metal leaf from the equation entirely, that's just it's one fragile part that's able to just not exist there anymore. So it becomes more of a plastic and plastic kind of affair versus any kind of metal, aside from the spring, obviously. So yeah, the Wu-Ting one is still vastly leading in our category, followed by the Ducky 1-2 RGB, which I guess isn't really terribly surprising. I do think out of the 5 options, those are the most premium within the budget. And I mean,
I think I'd agree.
Yeah, and I mean, if you do have a $150 budget and you're coming into the hobby, I think the idea is you want to get the most you can for that money, right? For this hypothetical buyer, at least. Do you guys hate Cherry MX Browns? No, not particularly. I don't really hate any Switch. I mean, there probably are. No, I just don't really hate. It's just some things I don't really care about, But MX Brown's not my particular favorite. New Cherry also rated for 100 million. True. I did hear that, actually.
Oh, the new ones are, yes. The original ones aren't, though, yeah.
I only hate silent switches. A lot of people hate silent switches. I'm not the biggest fan of them either, to be fair.
No.
All right.
I don't dislike MX Browns, though. I mean, they're not. I wouldn't class them as like a great switch, but I do have them in my Jane, so that tells you something about how I feel about them.
For sure. All right, so the Wu-Ting one is still a commanding lead. Doesn't really look like a whole lot more votes are coming in either. So it looks like, as far as chat is concerned, the Wu-Ting one is definitely our winner out of these 5. Not too shabby. All right, shall we move over to a brief Q&A before we head off for the day, Jay?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Sounds like a
All
good
right, guys.
idea.
But first, we must talk about our sponsors for a moment because they do fantastic things.
They do amazing things.
They do amazing things. They really do. They really do. And a quick shout out, starting off with Novel Keys. Obviously, we're going to move into a Q&A momentarily as well, so if you guys have any questions before we head out, make sure you ask those. You can start asking right now. Use the @TopClack tag. Helps us out way more than you might think it will.
Yeah, and feel free to ask any question you'd like as well. It can be about keyboards or otherwise.
Yes, absolutely. So, starting us off today, the show is sponsored by Novel Keys, who have a few things going on that are pretty interesting. One thing, if you're a very value-centric person like myself, you might want to check out the NK65 Milkshake Edition. $190 gets you the NK65, gets you the switches, gets you the caps, the cable. It's a fully assembled board, which is pretty awesome, and I believe sort of a Novel Keys first in this kind of instance as well. So this is a really big deal, guys. I think this is pretty fantastic, and if you're a fan of the milkshake colorway in particular, I think you'll probably get a really big kick out of this particular board. $190 for everything. You can't really argue with that. That's pretty fantastic for that level of keyboard, in my opinion. I have an MK65 V2. Really good for the money, I gotta be honest. If keyboards aren't your thing, but maybe you're looking for some key sets, and SA is something that you fancy, SA Jadeite is still in group buy for a little bit longer. So that could be something for you if you're a fan of this particular type of key set. If GMK or Cherry Profile is more your thing, he's definitely got you covered there. Monokai material, is still running. So if you're a fan of these kind of IDE theme sets, that could be up your alley. Or GMK Sloth, if you're a fan of this type of thing. Or if you just really like sloths. Maybe are there a lot of people in chat that just like sloths? That'd be pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like a sloth? They're cute, right?
I mean, the desk mat itself is actually pretty honest. They're pretty.
It is really nice,
pretty fantastic, to be honest. I'd probably buy. I don't really care about the set, if I'm being honest, but I think I might pick up the desk mat just because of how freaking adorable it is. And maybe you don't want any key sets or desk mats. He definitely has lots of switches and stabilizers and other things in stock. If you're buying anything in stock, use the promo code ClickClack, one word, no capitals, and it'll get you 5% off your in-stock order. Definitely use that.
Sounds good. Moving over to our second sponsor of the day, it is Kono.store. If I could get the link, it would help. There we go.
We're a mess today, guys.
So here on Kono, we've got a few different things to talk about. If you have missed any of the key sets that they've been selling recently, you can probably join it on a pre-order. So they've got GMK Deku, EPBT Ivory, all of those are the key sets that they've run quite recently. You can probably grab it on a pre-order, which means you get it at the same time as the group buy ships. So definitely consider that as well. In group buy, they've still got GMK Posh available right now, so that's in group buy for another couple of weeks. So make sure to pick that up if you are interested. And looking at the keyboards, well, we've already talked about some of the keyboards on offer today, so it would be remiss of me not to mention that from the keyboards we talked about, the 5 that we talked through, our budget pick was the Nova. So perhaps that would be the board that would interest you if you need a mechanical keyboard on a budget. Maybe take a look at the Nova. For the price, it seems pretty good.
Yeah, not too shabby. Next up, we have over at KBDfans. They have a few things going on right now. If you check out the coming soon section, they have the Epoch 80%, which is, of course, a TKL. And if you're kind of a fan of that OG Dolch pack sort of aesthetic, this could be something totally for you. It is a slightly more expensive board as it is a more premium custom, but it is a pretty interesting looking option. Something I'm trying to keep my eye on a little bit more is the new KBD 6.7 Lite, which is kind of this new budget entrance era of keyboard for KBD fans, where it kind of competes a little bit alongside the NK65 and the upcoming RamaWorks Kara. So this is kind of another one of these sub $100 plastic cases with, I believe it's injection molded, and this is pretty interesting too, guys. So this is going to be a gasket mount as well, so very inexpensive. I'm keeping my eye out on this one. I'm definitely going to pick one up as soon as I'm able to. If that's not really your thing, you can check out pretty much anything else they have, because they have a lot. This is kind of like one of those one-stop shops as far as custom keyboards are concerned. You can get keyboard cases, you can get PCBs, plates, switches, keycaps, stabilizers, pretty much anything you can think of, they pretty much have it here. And something to keep note of is they have a B stock market, which doesn't always have things in it, but every now and then it'll have some pretty interesting things. Right now it just has this KBD 75 case, but every now and then they'll have some pretty banging deals on some cases, keyboards. A lot of fully assembled keyboards get posted here sometimes for like really bargain barrel pricing. And I've seen some of the high-profile aluminum cases that they do as low as about $45 to $49. So if you're looking to ball out on a budget and you don't have a lot to spend, then KBDfans is a pretty good place to go to.
Absolutely. Jumping over to our final sponsor, it is Mekanisk. So the wonderful Leandrin from Mekanisk.com. Nothing really major to shout out in terms of what's in stock. You can still get a few things on the store, such as the Ultramarine stabilizers, the WT60D PCB, and some accessories for your existing Mekanisk boards. But a big shout out to Leandrin and to say, watch out for some of the things they've got coming. We know that the tinned has run recently, and there is now teasers of a tinned TKL, as well as exclusive E colors, so electrophoresis color finishing to some of the new boards as well. So the E Ultra Hot, Brian and I both going to get samples of this, I think. So it's going to be interesting to see, but that's kind of a color I'm really, really excited to see in real life. And of course, that big Switch tease as well there. There's the Ultramarine switches that are Mekanisk branded as well, that are clearly on the way at some point soon. So definitely keep an eye out for those and all of the other cool things that Leandrin's doing.
Yeah, I'm really excited for both the color and the switches because, man, I've seen that color in several pictures now in the Mekanisk Discord, and it is freaking lovely, I gotta be honest. Shout out to him because we actually do have samples of the E Ultra Hot on the way, as well as some of the Mekanisk switches, so we'll be able to check out both of those. I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. Alright, guys. Let's go back to the Q&A here.
What questions have we got, Brian?
Enemy's friend is asking, what do you think about the fact that there are 5 SA sets running this month? Do you think vendors/runners could coordinate more?
I think that's a difficult one. So I think there's nothing wrong with sets running in parallel these days. We've seen that can be done and it does work. Look at all the GMK sets we see. We see 15 GMK sets a month, and that's kind of like fine now. SA has seen a bit of a resurgence, so I think that's okay for people to run multiple SA sets as well. The difficulty comes when you talk about vendors and runners coordinating more, is that you have to be careful with legal stuff on that as well. Like, it's not just as simple as all the vendors sitting down and saying, we're going to run this month, therefore can you run that next month? Because then that leads to like options to fix prices and fix product listings, and it starts to become anti-competitive, and there's a lot of things that you have to be really wary of from that perspective as well.
Yeah, fully agree. And like you mentioned, I mean, how long has it been? How long have we been doing like 5 to 10 GMK sets a month now? Because it's been a while. And obviously the community does seem to support it. So I don't think the 5 SA sets running in a month is really that big of a deal. It's interesting to me to see that, just because I wonder if it's because the SAQ has been coming down because we've had so fewer custom sets on it. As well as so many more GMK sets that maybe people are starting to veer over to something that isn't GMK just because we have had so many GMK sets running and the queue is getting backed up, and they might be having some issues here and there depending on who you talk to. So it's interesting to see more SA happening. Could we get some more DCS happening?
Or DSS?
Yeah, there are other options. They're out there. Iwane asking Marvel Comics versus DC Comics.
Oh man, that's a hard one, because like if you mean the actual comics, I'd probably go with DC because I really, really enjoy Batman and things like that. If you're talking movies, DC have let the side down a little bit, so it'd have to be the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, growing up, I was never a comic kind of person, so this is not a question I'm very comfortable answering. But if I had to pick one, I would say Marvel. But my experience with Marvel vs. DC has largely come from the movies, I gotta be honest. So definitely not a question for me. But if I had to pick, Marvel seems like a more interesting universe to me.
Sure. Have you seen the trailer, by the way, for the new Batman movie with
No.
Robert Pattinson in? You should definitely check that out because it's a really gritty, back to basics kind of.
Ooh.
Batman where he's kind of like homegrown. He's still wearing like tactical outfits. He doesn't have the whole kind of professional garments and everything else that's clearly designed to make him Batman. He's kind of like still making stuff homemade and things like that. Clearly troubled mind. It's definitely worthwhile watching the trailer for it, because
that sounds awesome.
I was pleasantly surprised by how good that film looks.
Nice. Okay. Gio's asking thoughts on this, and then he links. Let me open up this link. The group buy for the Saturn 60 steel keyboard. Let's go ahead and check this out real quick.
This is like that server rack inspired one. Yeah. Do you know what, Gio? I kind of like this, and maybe I shouldn't, but I kind of do like it. Like, I think it's fun. I think you could do like a really good, fun space themed build on it. I like the Saturn 60 badge. I like the handle on the rear. It's just silly, and yeah, I'd forgotten that this was going into group buy. Is this live now? Is this already in group buy? It is.
The group buy is happening.
Yeah,
we covered this in interest check, didn't we?
We did. Yeah, we did cover this in interest check.
It looks.
I said then I kind of liked it.
It looks so much cleaner now than it did in interest check. Yeah, this is. I mean, it's not for everyone. Sure, it's very, very different and unique. But this is awesome to me. This is the kind of thing I really like in keyboards, because like it's not just another custom. This is like, it's kind of silly and goofy and, you know, a little eccentric, and I appreciate that a lot. The handle, hilarious, love it. Bezels, absolutely astronomical, totally unnecessary, and that's what I'm totally okay with. And look at this plate design too. Remember this? This is starting to come back to me now. Yeah, I mean, it's silly, it's goofy. Base kit starts at 200. That's not too bad. I don't know. I think this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I'll probably pick one of these. But I didn't realize the kind of keys were running it. It's a shame because it's going to ship after Brexit. So it's going to cost me a small fortune to get one. But yeah, okay, I'm interested.
Yeah, Ace keyboards for America. I've never heard of Ace keyboards.
I think they're a new vendor purely for this one. I think that's the guy behind the board.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is silly, but I like this. This is cool. Group buy, looks like it starts October 16th. Cool.
Yeah, I'll probably pick one up.
Yeah, depending on what, you know, how the base kit is looking when it launches for that price. Definitely something I'd consider. I1A asking, with Olivia Plus extras selling out so fast and having probably the most extras of any set so far, do you think that it's better just to join a group buy even if you don't love the set instead of waiting for extras? Basically, you should say no to FOMO and potentially have to pay 3 to 4x group buy on Mech Market, or is it better to just buy into the group buy and flip it when it arrives if you don't like it when you see it in person?
Like, my view on this is don't wait for extras, because you might not get them. You know, you can't bank on the fact that you're going to be able to get an extra of anything because they sell out. If you want something and it's an unlimited group buy, just join the group buy. Like, because it's just going to make life easier. You're definitely going to get it. It's going to be cheaper for you. Yes, you have to wait a little bit longer, and yes, you're right. You can always just sell it on the aftermarket for easily the price you paid for it, if not more, once the actual group buy does ship. Extras just go so fast these days, and it's really hard from putting my vendor hat on. It's really hard from a vendor's perspective to actually understand what the demand's going to be in advance. Like, you have no idea how well something's going to sell 6 months down the line from it coming. So you'll buy based on your best guess the extras numbers. And every time any of the vendors does that, it just sells instantly anyway. So it's really hard to say.
Yeah, that's really tough, right? Because he specifies to join the group buy even if you don't love the set. And it's like, okay, on one hand, why would you ever join a key set group buy that you don't think you'll like, right? But at the same time, renders will generally look different than the final product. So if you don't like a set in the renders and like when the group buy launches, then the set ships and you see it and you decide, oh wow, that looks better or different, and I do love that. What do you do at that point? Because at that point you've already failed, because you can't Either you have to fight for the extras and hope you get it, or you have to pay the insane markup on Mech Market if it is a set that's in demand, which, let's be fair, I mean, it's rare these days to find a GMK set that isn't marked up pretty noticeably on the aftermarket.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. There's no good answer to it, but like if you're around at the group buy time and you can afford to join it, then I would really recommend just joining at the group buy stage. Don't wait for it to run out. Like the biggest question I get as soon as GMK Showcard round 2 finished, like the group buy, I within 2 days I must have had 20, 30 emails saying, "Can I get a set?" And it's like, no, the group buy's done. You will have to wait until I've got extras now. That's it. It's done. I mean, that helps me shape how many extras I buy, but like, I don't know. I don't understand why people would wait and then get FOMO after the group buy is closed and then ask to rejoin it at that point. It just feels a bit weird, and I know it's a difficult model for people to understand. Coming from anything else, the Amazon culture where you pay now and you get it the next day, it's difficult to wait. So I don't know what the right answer is, and I think the further we go down the line, I think we'll become more around having stuff in stock. People will eventually start to buy the volume of extras where they don't sell out immediately and they'll probably sit around for a little while. And more people might pick up the originated model where you have key sets that you pre-order yourselves and then let people join if they want to, but you're already making it. It's already in the GMK queue, and then you have it in stock afterwards. I think there's multiple different methods that will come forward on that.
Yeah, that's a really tough question, because I mean, part of me would say like you should never put money towards something like you don't think you're gonna like. But like you don't know you're gonna like something until it actually is, manifested IRL. Because renders can only tell you so much. So I think that'd be like a more individual basis, right? Like if you have the disposable income, like Jay mentioned, like if you can afford to just like take that risk, then yeah, take the risk. But if you can't afford to take the risk, I think you just have to pass. If you're not sure you're gonna like something based on the group buy, I think you just have to pass on it and just hope for there's so many key sets happening all the time. Like chances are something else is gonna come down along the line 1 month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now that you're gonna like just as much or more, right? Like why focus on sets you're not sure of when 20 of them happen a month? At the end of the day, it's just a key set, right?
Sure.
That's how I view
it. Fazhar, thank you very much for the 21 months of subs. That's 3. No, it's not. It's 2 Top Clack babies in a little bit. Sorry, I was my mind was reading the 1 as a 7 for some reason then. But yeah, 21 months. Thank you very much, dude, for that. Really appreciate it. Nearly 2 years.
Appreciate that, man. And all right.
Well, Farl Len says, what are the GMK delivery times now? GMK needs to scale up. This hobby is getting big. GMK delivery times are about, it depends on the key set, right? It depends on if it needs color matching and stuff like that, but it's anywhere between 8 and 10 months, I think, at the minute. So that's kind of like the ballpark that you're looking at. And they are trying to scale up, but it's not something that's going to happen overnight. We still only make up like a third of GMK's business. So, whilst they are focused on us and they want to do more with us as a community, it's going to take time for them to scale up to look at it.
Yeah. Kurev is asking, hey, he forgets to tag us, but he does ask, hey guys, I've been out of the game for a while. I'm looking for a cheap 75% or 1800 layout keyboard/kit that I can solder myself if needed. Any suggestions? Cheap 75% or 1800 layout.
75%, I'd probably go with KBD 75 for a cheap kit. I don't know if it's in stock anywhere. Let's have a look.
What is cheap to you? Because cheap is a pretty relative term.
It is, yeah. KBD 75 V2 is in stock from $159 on KBDfans. That would probably be my pick for a budget 75%. For an 1800, I don't know if anyone has an 1800.
I was trying to think of like the cheapest 1800s.
Well, the cheapest one I know is the 19X, right? From KBDfans. But custom. I don't think it's definitely not in stock. Like,
well, he says keyboard/kit, so it doesn't have to be a custom, right? You could get like the FC 980M or something from Leopold, right?
Yeah, if you don't want a kit, yeah.
I1A says HJCP. Obliterated 75 or wrecked 1800 if you can get them. Yeah.
Is the HJCP still available? I thought that was on
I don't think
pre-order.
So. Yeah, I think that kind of question is better suited for our Discord, which is linked below. So that way we can kind of ask some more questions and kind of hash out a bit, because it's a really vague question, because we don't know what cheap means to you. We don't know like what other features you might be looking for, if OEM keyboards are okay, etc., etc. There's a lot to kind of unpack there, which is great and fine, but it's usually best done in a Discord. Enemy says, you missed a question of mine further up, did we?
I can only go back to Geo talking about DC animation. I can't go back any further than that.
I guess it's a question. He follows up to say, let's say I'm a full-on SA guy, and most of the year I'm getting starved, and now all of a sudden 5 sets in your face. Ooh, okay, so that's kind of...
I mean, sure, that's difficult from a buyer's perspective, but that's not something that is on the vendors to fix. I don't think. Like we have that problem with GMK now. It's not that you're starved with GMK, but there are so many GMK sets running. Like if you're an SA user and multiple sets come up at once, I mean it's just the way it is. Like you can't have vendors planning things out in terms of saying, I'm not going to run an SA set this month. That means that you can run an SA set this month, because it leads to anti-competitive rules and stuff. It starts to get really difficult, like business-wise and legally-wise, if you start having those conversations. There's a lot of things that can be an issue in there. So it's very anti-competitive to say that. So you have to be really careful about how you deal with that kind of question as a business.
An enemy's friend, he's referring to a different question actually. He says, most badass introduction of a new character to a TV show.
I didn't see that. Most badass introduction of a new character to a TV show. Okay, so the one that jumps out at me is a really old one. So Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I think it was season 6 or 7. Nathan Fillion's character as Caleb, because he comes out of nowhere. Nathan Fillion is a god among men. He's a great actor, and all of a sudden there is someone that is tougher than Buffy, just pressing people's eyeballs out of their heads, and it's incredible. And it was kind of scary the first time I saw it, and that would be my favorite introduction for a new character.
Oh man, I don't really watch much TV, so this is pretty tough for me. I don't think I have I'd have to spend some time thinking about an answer to that.
Yeah, or a recent one, The Boys Stormfront in season 2. That was quite good.
Oh no, wait, no spoilers.
It's not a spoiler. It's
okay.
not a spoiler. Enemy's friend as well says, my keyboard with all 5 SA sets don't get. I mean, they're a proxy for that. They're not the lead vendors on that, so it's different. I'm talking about from a lead vendor perspective. So yeah.
Yeah, The Boys so good. Yeah, I need to start season 2. I really do.
Yeah, the new episode should be out when this is finished for me here in the UK, because it's technically Friday now, so hopefully I'll be able to watch it straight after this.
Yeah, after this I need to go take some more medicine and lie down in bed and try to not think about this headache.
I've not seen Person of Interest, sorry.
Schnickers Live says, I was thinking the other day, the part of the reason my friends and I end up buying heaps of keyboard stuff is because of the long lead times and FOMO of limited releases. If everything was always in stock, I think we would have have spent significantly less, rather. Yeah,
it's true.
I mean, yeah. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if it's still like this in the artisan community, but people used to buy people used to join artisan raffles not because they liked the sculpt or the colorway or whatever, but because they could use it to trade for other artisans they did want. And it kind of feels like sort of a similar approach here, because like you get something, and even if you don't like it, you can potentially trade it or sell it for something you do want. I don't know. I buy things I'm pretty confident I'm going to like, and if I'm unsure, I just don't buy it. But
yeah,
tends to be because like I can't always afford a ton of stuff. Like if I had like a ton, I got to be honest with you guys, if I had like a shit ton of money, I'd probably buy a lot of keyboard stuff. I'd be like, oh, that looks interesting, give me that. Oh, I might like that key set, give me that. But like,
click buy, click buy.
Exactly. Like
do the thing, click the button, spend the money.
Spend the money. Yes. But I mean, because I'm a more regular Joe, I guess, and I don't have, insane amounts of disposable income, I have to be very picky and choosy. And if I think I'm not going to like something, there's no point in me, investing the money into it, even if it is, something I could just sell later on. And I would never buy something with the intention of flipping it either, so like that would always be a moot point for me. We have a group of unhealthy keyboard enablers. Yeah. Don't we all, man? Don't we all?
It's a whole hobby.
It's a whole hobby. That's right. All right. It looks like we are caught up on questions there. We should pick a channel to raid before we head out. Who should we raid?
Very nice.
Well, while you're looking at that, the Raging Asian has just subscribed for 30 months on a 30-month streak, and he says El Pogier.
El Pogier. He's trying to trigger me.
Oh, El Pogier.
He's trying to trigger me. We're not getting into that. We'll have.
Well, I think we
later,
have to
right?
know. You have to tell us about it.
It's an inside joke, and it's not even a good one. It's not even worth it. All right, who's streaming right now? We have Minterly, Tiny, Max. All right, let's go with Minterly, I guess. I don't think we've raided Minterly yet.
No, I don't think we have. That's a good idea. Let's raid Minterly.
Yeah, I'm gonna set this up. I'm gonna set this raid up, guys. I'm gonna go over and say wholesome things to Minterly. But while we're doing that, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show as much as we enjoyed it. I know it was kind of a different show today, and Jay and I are very much not ourselves at the moment, like we mentioned at the beginning of the show. So we apologize for that, but those of you that stuck with us, we appreciate it, and all the subs and the bits that were donated today, very much appreciate that, guys. And check below the stream. You can find outlets such as our Discord. You can come talk about your favorite cheese, or some entry level keyboards, or I don't know, some shoes that you like. There's something for everyone there. And
do come check that out. Yeah. I promise that if you give us a few hours to rest, Brian and I will be as chatty as you like in the Discord server, because I think we're both feeling under the weather and a bit down at the minute. So yeah. Just give us a little bit of time. We'll be there.
It's a rough day for us, so we appreciate you guys understanding and bearing with us. Life is not always easy, but we appreciate you guys. We're very humbled to have you. All right, shall we head over to the raid? Let's go ahead and raid.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's raid.
We'll say something.
How let's wish her a really good day. Let's just say that we hope her day's going really well.
Something wholesome. Say something wholesome. That's what we'll do. All right, guys. Let's head on over.